Hey guys, welcome to the Double Chin Show. It's Mike.
It's Dan.
It's Yi.
Today we're talking about a story that's been making its way around social media, and it's actually kind of close hitting for us, or at least me, because the subject of this story is a very close friend of mine.
I mean, the world knows her as Miss Canada 2015.
Right.
Correct.
Like
Right.
actual Miss Canada.
Yes.
And basically, Anastasia, we had a post about this on Facebook, and it's not just making its way around social media, but like all the major
medias,
all
yeah.
the major
All
news
the major
outlets.
newspapers. Okay, so here's what happened, right? So she won Miss Canada, and we all know the finals is taking place. The Miss World finals is taking place in Sanya, China this year.
Yeah.
And after she had spoken out about human rights abuse issues in China, people were already speculating that she probably won't be able to go to China for that final competition.
Right.
And of course, people were right, because in around October, all of the contestants received the invitation to attend the
Right.
final competition in China. And she was I wouldn't say
She didn't get
she
it.
didn't get the invitation, basically.
Only one.
Yeah,
Right.
was she the only one?
She's the only
She's
one.
the only one who
Right.
didn't get the invitation. And so she waited for the invitation to come,
Right.
and the date had passed, and she thought, maybe I'll wait a little bit more. But then she still didn't get it, and by that time, it became clear to her that she was not invited
Not only that, without the invitation, you
Cannot
can't
get a visa.
You can't get a visa.
to go to China.
Right,
And
you
so
need a reason, yeah.
That's right. And so that's where she decided that, time was running out, because Miss World was basically saying, hey, if you can get yourself to Sanya on time, the seat is open for you. And Miss Canada was not going to send a replacement for
Right.
her.
Right.
So she just wanted to find a way to make it to Sanya, because she
Right.
said, I already came this far. I don't want to give up.
Right.
So, for her, there might still be hope, and she tried to go after
Exactly.
that.
And so
the
she
dream.
decided to basically sneak into China. Now, like she
Via
said,
Hong Kong.
Via
Via
Hong
Hong
Kong,
Kong,
because
yeah.
sometimes, for Canadian citizens, when you arrive in Hong Kong, you can kind of get a visa there.
Like automatic, some
Yeah.
rule where you can automatically get a visa.
Yes,
not like
yes,
us.
on site, visa on site, I
Yeah.
think. And then Canadians apparently
Right.
are one of the few countries who are
right.
allowed to do that.
They're just nicer.
And so she got to Hong Kong, and she basically found out there that she was in fact not welcome.
Right.
Before, it was all kind of
Well, they
speculation.
didn't even give her a reason.
And of course, we all know why. I mean, the whole world knows why, because she is very outspoken about the human rights abuse in China, predominantly against Falun Gong practitioners, and she is one as well, it
Right.
said in
She's
the
a
article.
problem, yes.
And what's important is that, she basically is really outspoken about this, and she's not willing to she's not willing to shut her mouth. There was one article that said, I think in the BBC, where she actually talked to other Chinese past Miss World or past beauty pageant contestants who were Chinese, who were of Chinese descent, and they all kept their mouth shut about human rights.
They agreed with her, but they didn't
Right.
want to say anything because there
Right.
are repercussions.
Right.
And she did talk about those serious repercussions. She's said in some of the interviews, her father lives in China. He was contacted by the authorities there, and they were saying that you better make your daughter stop talking about
Right.
these issues, or else, something bad will happen. And
Right.
she called her father and basically told him about this, and he refused to talk to her because he was afraid that the phone lines were tapped. And he basically conveyed to her the idea that, hey, if you don't stop doing what you're doing, I'm gonna cut you off.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sever my relations with you.
Right. This thing with the parents, about her dad, who basically is succumbing to the Chinese government and saying that if you stop talking about this, it's basically almost disowning her. In this case, he basically actually has cut her off, like financially, like
Right.
he
'Cause
won't
she's a
support her.
student.
She's a student, and she had a really good quote in one of the articles. She was basically saying this is an example of how it's kind of not the dad's fault, but for so many decades since it's back in the 20s, but really it started in the Cultural Revolution. Like, everybody is so afraid of being persecuted by the government that basically the government drives a wedge between you and your family. And you said a really funny thing earlier, is that actually you read it in the article where she said, Anastasia Lin said that in second grade in China she learned one of the songs.
To put this into context, Anastasia Lin basically said that she wasn't always like an outspoken activist. When she was younger, she was actually one of the people who was like an avid supporter of the Communist Party, and she said that she only came to the States when she was a teenager. So when she was in middle school in China, she actually was one of those people who was designated with the task of showing Communist Party propaganda films, and that basically say that Falun Gong is bad and everything like that, and support the government. She was actually really enthusiastic about that. And even when she moved to Canada, she continually was like supporting the Chinese government, the Communist Party. And only after her mother gave her a book that basically it was about how the Chinese government persecuted people who have religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs, which included Falun Gong, that she really was like, wow.
Kind of woke up to
kind of woke up, and she kind of totally just decided to disassociate herself with that.
And her platform, her entire platform was based on that. And kudos for her, being selected as Miss Canada, because that's a really awesome platform. And she, like I said, I'm friends with her, and she's a really sweet girl, and she really has a passion for bringing like a heinous act that no one wants to talk about really on a public platform to the public. And it's really cool that Canada, gave her the crown of Miss Canada because of that platform. But then, everything that you guys talked about started happening after she won Miss Canada. The intimidation to her father, all the issues there, and then of course the visa issue. And so far, the Canadian government hasn't stepped up and spoken up for her. Also, Miss World hasn't stepped up.
Oh, the current Miss World.
No, the Miss World organization.
The organization,
hasn't stepped up, because you would think, like, if an organization, if you think about it, if they really supported something this is a good cause. So
definitely.
If this, I think this organization itself is also being, very timid towards China. Otherwise, otherwise they could have just been like, you know what? If you block our contestant, we won't have it here anymore.
Yeah, we won't have it here. Pageant events, they all want to go in there because that's a lot of money in there. So I totally agree with you. Like, I'm pretty sure I read one. There's somebody from the organization that gave a quote, but I would like to see more of an outspoken thing. Like major press release, like not just like comment. I want to see action, because I think that speaks way louder than words. Because right now it kind of feels like, well, that really stinks for our contestant, but we still need to make this happen.
Well,
you know what I mean?
What they said was that, we can't change the location of our pageant every time someone gets denied a visa. Well, come on. She's not getting denied a visa because she's on some terror.
Right.
She's getting denied a visa because she's speaking out, and her platform is about how there's atrocities going on in China that nobody is covering. All right, like we all sit around social media and we hear a lot of the stuff that's going on around the U.S. Obviously, a lot of issues. Obviously devastation going on in the Middle East, but there is a lot of things going on in China that nobody is talking about.
Absolutely.
Nobody knows because nobody's actually covering it. Guys, go Google organ harvesting China.
And also just like the way that for the past however many years, since 1999, 16 years, that practitioners of Falun Gong in China have been persecuted. When people hear persecution, nobody really know what that means. So when you look it up, you really see, like you're saying, the heinous crimes, like forced what do you call it? Force feeding. Everything. Like torture. Literally torture. We're not talking about, you're in detention. Like you're being tortured. I mean, that's like basically
like
against
torture.
Yeah.
In the U.S. when there was a time when Gitmo or
Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, there was reports of torture. Yeah. Oh my God, that's an uproar. Okay, look, the government is systematically in China torturing people just because of their beliefs. Torturing continuously, daily, most heinous stuff you can imagine, like fingernails being pulled off,
force feedings, like they would like stick a tube down your esophagus.
Those scenes where like people torture other people by
cattle prod, hot iron,
yep, like, that's
cattle
prodding,
yeah, and you're talking about like for example in America, the media and people, we get all up in arms when we hear our own government torturing basically war criminals. Like war criminals. We're not talking about innocent people here. We get like crazy about that. And you're talking about in China, over 100 million people who are the targets. You're talking about everyday people like you and I. Like literally, you or I or you could be walking down the street, minding your own business, and they take you and they do that stuff to you. That's like night and day. So people are like, what's so bad? There's persecution in every country. No, not like this.
No,
And so she basically made that the point of the basis of her platform of why she was running, and she wanted to bring this out. So everybody commends her.
I used to always think of pageants as these like stupid things that like nobody watched, and I don't watch it. And usually we think that people can not bring up things of substance at like, you know, pageants and whatnot,
Right.
but she's bringing up really serious issues, and I think this is a good direction for pageants to be taking. I mean, it's not just about girls waving their hands around. It's a lot about being courageous and beautiful on the inside, which I think that's who Anastasia is. I think that she's being really courageous, and I think that's wonderful. I mean, we need more people like her, and all of the major medias, they've been saying, you know, like she's been quoted as saying she wants to inspire young people. She wants to inspire more people to stand up to for, you know, for their right to speak
beliefs,
out, for their beliefs, and for everything.
You know, the silver lining to all this is,
Which is?
I am glad that she's getting so much attention.
Yeah, definitely.
About what's going on, because it could be worse. It could have been like this happened and nobody knows about it.
Right. It just
And
kind of
then
got swept under the rug.
Like nowadays, like China is, you know, economically getting stronger. Like, so a lot of things are hidden because it looks glamorous on the outside, but there's a lot of like things happening that people don't pay attention to. And, you know, I mean, that's why when I heard this thing happening with Anastasia, I was like, wow, like, you know, like I hope she's safe. I hope her family is safe. I mean, I hope her dad doesn't get harassed again, because that certainly is very normal for that to happen. And I hope that she doesn't get harassed in Canada or anything like that, because, you know, I've actually known a few friends who've gotten harassed overseas too.
Yeah. You don't have to trust us. Go look up this stuff for yourself. Go Google China organ harvesting. Go Google China human rights. Look for yourself. Okay, then make your own judgment.
Like her, you know, we also try to set a good example for everybody by, if you see an injustice, and I mean, talk about it. You know, share the stories. Talk about. Stand up for what you believe in.
Well, I think Anastasia said something really great. I mean, this is what something she said in an article. She's like, well, you know, if nobody stands out, if nobody goes out to say anything, like, it'll just keep happening.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, so she's like, somebody has to step out sometime.
All right, guys, we'll put the links to the stories about this subject matter in the description box below. You can go ahead and read for yourself, and if there's any future updates, we'll let you guys know. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.